Check. You're watching KelownaNow, and that's the best theme song going, right?
I'm gonna miss it.
I'm here with Scott Dedels with Block Rewards and with the Bitcoin Show. And Scott and Block Rewards sponsor the show.
And it is our final episode of season 1 of the Bitcoin Show.
There you go. And we're gonna talk a little bit about what you do, a lot about what you do, like what you offer employees and employers, right? And we got that information too, and we're gonna look at it. And
yeah, last week's episode was sort of a lead into why would a company be interested in thinking about helping their staff earn or save in Bitcoin. And today is a little bit more getting into the specifics of what we do, how we do it, and why you might really want to think about it as an employer. So I prepared a few images, and this is kind of like the 5 reasons why, as a company, you might want to think about Bitcoin as part of what you're doing. Firstly, I think that it is a massive differentiator. Like if you think about the number of companies operating that are offering some kind of like extended benefits or compensation beyond salary, and the number of those companies.
And that's a space you come from too, right? So you understand that well.
Yeah, I've been 15 years in that space. The number of companies that would be doing Bitcoin as part of that today is really small. And so it is a low-hanging fruit in terms of being able to just include it in your overall offering without a lot of extra effort and do something that is really different now, which is cool. You know, you're an employer, you're out there trying to retain and keep staff, and anything that you can do, I think, to stand out or use your dollars in a way that resonates with your staff or your candidates, it's huge, right?
So, yeah, it's just like, even when we talk about the future of money, mm-hmm. I mean, some type of, even if people could argue that Bitcoin isn't the future of money, some type of digital asset will be the future of money, mm-hmm. like 100%. Like it kind of like credit cards are kind of like that. So if you're thinking that digital money is the future of money, why wouldn't you make the case for Bitcoin being part of that future?
Yeah, and as we've gone through in all of the different episodes through the past, so far, it is the digital money. It has been by far the most successful and consistent and largest portion of the market of that space. By far, it's the only, there's a Ethereum ETF as of today in the US, but so far, Bitcoin is the only sort of institutional asset in the space at all. So lots of reasons why, at minimum, it's a great starting place for employers to start wading their toe into the water of this stuff.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I was just going to ask a question. So if I'm an employer, like obviously I asked you for the information, what are the steps?
Yeah, so maybe
I'm jumping ahead, right?
Let's go to number two. Number 2 reason why you would want to do this. Bitcoin, and we've talked about this a lot, but it is something that requires people to get out of their own box a little bit and acquire some new skills and get uncomfortable. And this is a roadblock for companies or even for individuals thinking about, like, am I really going to store some of my money on the blockchain, and what is that, and what does that even mean, and how safe it is? But by virtue of including this in something that is sort of company driven, what you're really starting to do is think about incorporating that into your corporate culture. And for companies that are interested in things like personal responsibility, being cutting edge, having a corporate ethos of evolving and staying with the times, starting to think about offering this is a great way to move your staff in that direction or help them along the way. Number 3, protect your staff from the 100% certainty of inflation. We've talked about this a lot on different episodes. This is a systemic problem of the way that money works. It has to do.
Well, they have target rates. The Fed and the Bank of Canada, they have a target rate of 2%. That's what they'd like to see for inflation. That's their target rate.
Yeah. And
like lately, they have lost control of their target.
Yeah. And regardless of, we covered this in some of the earlier episodes, regardless of what the target is, which is itself, typically reported with a number that gets a little bit manipulated, it's probably going to be higher than we're used to, because as government debt accumulates and the interest owing on that debt accumulates, it could just cost, the government pays those bills by printing new money. So they collect some money from us, but really the balance of what our tax money doesn't cover for the government is covered by printing new money.
It's kind of like if you have, when you're younger, you get that credit card and you just keep maxing it out and say you're at $3,000 and you're making that same monthly payment, but most of the payment is not going towards interest.
That's right. So as they make more money, they can report inflation is going up or down, but when they say inflation's coming down, all they're really saying is the rate at which money is losing its value is slowing down a little bit, but it's probably not going to be the case that prices are coming down. Like those are just
so here's an example that a lot of people, I gave this example to someone the other day. Like if we take, because it's usually measured month over month or year over year, month over month, if a price of an orange is $1 in June, and in July it goes up to $2, that's 100% inflation on that orange. But if the price of the orange stays at $2 in August, inflation is zero.
Yeah.
Right. So they're just like, see, inflation's coming down.
Exactly.
Right. But the orange is still $2.
Totally. Yeah. And that you've nailed it. This is the ultimate sort of like magic trick for how they misrepresent what is happening. And everybody, everybody can observe the cost of living has been way higher than going up like 6%, 8%, whatever they want to say it is. You go back 4 years, things are like orders, several times more
and inflation, as it's on its own, will slow down because it's just math. As numbers get bigger, the increases have to get, you know what I mean? Like a 10% on $1 is quite a bit, but 10% on, you know what I mean? As it gets bigger, obviously 10% on $10, or sorry, the increase, say it's $1 increase on $1, that's 100%, but $1 increase on 10, right, is a lower number, but it's still $1 increase, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah, and so these are all arguments for the notion of having some exposure to the only money that is available that can't be inflated, and so that's how you would think about protecting your staff from inflation using Bitcoin.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing though. So governments themselves typically like inflation, like that's why they have a target rate of 2%, because it forces money into the market too, right? Because if you just take money and bury it in in the ground or whatever and dig it up 20 years later, it's going to be worth a lot less, right? So that forces people to either put it in real estate or gold or silver or Bitcoin or businesses or different things. It forces you to kind of push money into the system, right? Because that asset, cash itself, will be depreciated.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of it. I think it's probably more accurate to say what they like even more is the flexible to create new money so that they can spend it however they want without having to collect it.
Well, that's one of the big side benefits for them, right?
Yeah.
So they can buy votes.
Yeah. Yeah, and send money abroad and do all these things, pay for things we don't have the money for. So when new money is created, without any of our sort of consent, because you could say it's consent. We get to vote every handful of years.
But I mean, it's no different than if you gave somebody that's slightly irresponsible a bunch of credit cards and say you never have to pay for them.
Yeah,
they'd probably spend quite willingly.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, anybody can be sure, regardless of your opinion on it, that more money will be created, which will diminish the value of the money you already have. Like that's the part that's 100% certain.
And that's what history shows us.
Yeah.
There's no disputing that fact.
So scarce items over time tend to become more valuable.
Right. That's why people diversify.
Yeah.
For sure.
Pay people how they want to be paid. This is, I think, especially true for younger people. So there is this is just, if you look at the statistics around number of 20
That's not me this time.
20-something employees that are interested in owning or already own some cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. The number is pretty high, and certainly the employees coming after them will be even higher. So any young people who have grown up in a digital age are a lot less averse to the notion of digital money, because they've had Instagram their entire lives. All these things.
They've had the technology in their palm of their hand the whole time.
So things that have are strange or foreign to people our age or older aren't to them, and this is just a part of the way it's going to go. So at some point, businesses are going to have to acknowledge that if they want to be in the game of having younger employees. Yeah. Number 4 is number 5. This is the last one. Modernize your compensation and rewards. So, and this is sort of a lead into, our base core product that we call Bitcoin Savings Plan is really the simplest way to wade one toe in the water and just start with offering a Bitcoin option through your benefits and salary structure. So this is a really easy way to think about, to start trying to do this, and we do it through payroll. It is the Bitcoin savings plan is, you can pull up the next one. Works very simply. So we designed the product so that it.
I just got to move my hat there so you can read that.
So that it functions the same way you would expect a group RSP to work, where employees can opt in. It can be set up so that it's either voluntary, so that there's no contribution from the company, or if the company wants to build in some kind of a match or have it be only a company-sponsored benefit, you could do any of those options or customize it however you might want to as an employer. We confirm the contribution amounts for each employee on every run, if that coincides with your payroll, or it could be once a month, or whatever frequency you're looking to do it. Invoices are issued according to the calendar that you determine, and then we
so it's
take
like setting up an RSP kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So again, this is back to my background in benefits, and we built this so that the experience would be just like a savings plan in a traditional
and
market.
You can say if somebody wants to get paid 50% in Bitcoin or 10% or 5%, and they can have that flexibility and how much Bitcoin. So then the money is sent to you, and then you purchase the Bitcoin and it goes into their wallet.
That's right. Yeah. And so that way, that we were talking about this on the last episode. One of the key benefits when this comes through a payroll deduction is it's the easiest way to help people help themselves. So when something happens through payroll, it's a deduction that happens before they actually have the money themselves, and Bitcoin is even just that slight amount of effort to turn it back into dollars that it makes it. It's like if you have something going directly into an RSP, you can cash out an RSP, but it's work. So that little amount of effort required often is enough of a disincentive for people to do it that the money will.
Can you buy Bitcoin in a TFSA yet?
Not right now, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could buy the ETFs and hold those in a TFSA.
You can do that.
Yep.
Okay.
But I think that that's really all you're doing with the TFSA with the Bitcoin ETF is you're getting exposure to the price of Bitcoin.
Correct.
But you don't get any of the benefits or the if we're thinking about things like evolving your corporate culture.
Right.
You're not going to get.
It's more of a stock thing that you just bought, right? You bought some shares in an ETF that kind of works with the benchmark, right? So.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So there's the next shot is just a quick sample of what an invoice might look like, and so we've got two employees here showing one of them is getting a match from their employer, and so this is part of our invoicing system that the customers would get used to seeing, and we have a whole platform where administrators.
Are those guys related, by the way?
They might be. So that's sort of the whole process. Maybe for companies that we're interested in thinking about, they can reach out and connect with us directly. The enrollment process is very simple. We just need to collect some basic information about the company to make sure that we're not violating any money laundering rules. So we collect a little bit of information about the corporation. Savings plans can be up and running in a day. We support it with education. So if a company wanted to do a lunch and learn or a webinar sort of explaining to their staff how to do it, why to do it, we support that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And
we will have that form on the bottom. So this is a great one to reach out if you want to find out more information about how to set up like a Bitcoin payment system so that employees can choose how much they want to contribute of their salary. And this is all after tax, so there's no tax implications at all.
That's right, yeah.
And so it's just a way for them to get basically a Bitcoin savings plan.
Yeah, and we do try to make it as easy as possible to set up so it's free to enroll your company, and there aren't any limits or rules around the number of your staff that need to participate. So if you had 50 staff and you only had 5 that were interested, that doesn't make a difference to us. We're just trying to get as many.
So when you get the money, when the payment comes in, is it an immediate transaction or is there some lag or something? Because obviously Bitcoin price fluctuates a bit, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. We turn it around as quickly as possible. Okay. So it's always same day, typically within 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's in their own accounts. You're not holding all the Bitcoin like
That's
FTX.
Right.
Like they're actually managing. It's just you're just purchasing it in their name and putting it into their account.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
yeah. We don't hold Bitcoin for any staff. We don't hold Bitcoin for any companies. We don't hold any funds.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you had a big announcement.
Yeah. So we
It's like kind of like a together kind of announcement.
yeah, we have a together kind of announcement. That's right. Actually, super exciting. So the day before Level Up, September 26th, we are going to be hosting one of the world's most famous Bitcoiners and a personal hero of mine, a famous Vancouver.
I thought I was personally.
You are as well. Jeff Booth is his name, and Jeff is the author of a best-selling book called The Price of Tomorrow, which I've mentioned on, I think, one of the first couple episodes of the show. Jeff is a brilliant man, a very successful entrepreneur in his own right, and has sort of very much transitioned into furthering Bitcoin adoption around the world. He heads up a Bitcoin VC fund called Ego Death Capital now, and he is absolutely one of the most well-known and well-respected Bitcoiners in the world. He's going to be here in Kelowna for the Level Up event, and we have been so fortunate as to get him in a night early to
get the sneak peek
for more of an extended presentation around Jeff's economic thesis around Bitcoin, and that's going to be happening at the Innovation Center. And we have a poster of that tickets are on sale today, and there's an Eventbrite there. We'll have a link for that as well.
And then we'll plug Level Up a little bit. So 5 years ago to the day, September 27th, we held Level Up here. You were attended. Yep. And it had 8 speakers in there, including the former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien and the former Prime Minister Stephen Harper were the 2 big ones. And then there's somebody there from Beats, and there was a lot of leadership speakers there. It was probably one of the biggest business events that ever be held in Kelowna. And obviously, the following year we were going to do Gary Vaynerchuk, and that got canceled due to COVID, and then COVID like sidebarred it for a while. Finally bringing it back September 27th, and it's going to be about the future. It's an AI summit. It's all about future, and we thought, and thanks to Scott, the future of money is something that needs to be discussed, because that's kind of like the blood of the economy, right? Money. Mm-hmm. And so having somebody talk about the digital space in money and the future and how that holds. Jeff's going to be one of the speakers at Level Up, and you can come and see him there. You can see him both nights or whatever. And Scott's going to help us figure out a way to accept Bitcoin to buy tickets for Level Up as well. So we're going to try and not just talk Bitcoin, we're going to try and actually put it into play. We're going to actually do this for our employees as well. We're going to offer Bitcoin. Scott's going to set that up for us. Mm-hmm. And we're actually going to try and take Bitcoin for tickets too, well, if people want to pay for their Level Up tickets through Bitcoin.
2019, for anybody who was watching it and was there or what wasn't, it was an incredible event. And I do think it was one of the best business events that ever happened in the area. Jeff, as being confirmed as one of the first speakers for the event, is easily on par with anybody who presented that day.
There you go. That's a big say right there, because absolutely. We had some pretty big names in leadership there, right? So I mean, it's authorities in the topic that's what's important, right? And I would say that Jean Chrétien and Stephen Harper had an authority in speaking on leadership for sure, right? Because they led our country cumulatively for 20 years, right? The 2 of them, right? So. And we might say that, we won't go there. We'll save that for a different show. But when we're talking about what we're trying to do for the AA Summit is bring in people that talk about the space, because it's going to affect so many things, right? And I think digital money is a big part of that, and as AI is, right? So I think, because the faster you can transact and track and all that kind of stuff is going to make so much difference in the world.
Yeah, I think we are very much headed into a period of change where, as much as people might not want to hear this, the next 10 years are going to change even more than
it's at an accelerating pace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's an exponential change. Yeah. And AI and the people that have been following ChatGPT, you see the versions and what it can do, the differences in 3 months. And I see the same thing. I have a full self-drive car, Tesla. Mm-hmm. The differences in what that thing did a year ago for what it does today is exponential as well, right? So it's those are basically robots out there right now that happen to look like cars. They're robots disguised as cars.
Yeah. So I think it's a great theme, incredibly topical for what's going on, and to have something like that happen in the region again is just super exciting, and we're thrilled to be a part of it. So, and to have somebody like Jeff coming in is it's just super exciting.
Yeah, I know. And maybe we'll figure out a way. So if you buy tickets to both, we'll give you some kind of deal or something.
Yeah, cool.
There you go. Anything else today?
I think that's it.
That's it. Again, the form will be below. So if you want to find out how to add Bitcoin payment system to your employees' compensation or even your own compensation, right? Jeff has all that information. Sorry, Jeff. Jeff's the guy that's going to be speaking.
That's right. Don't contact Jeff, but yeah.
Yeah, let's bug Jeff.
Go to blackrewards.ca, or you can find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm accessible all over the place, and yeah, it's been a real pleasure having the show. And I would invite anybody who's watching and tuning in this last one, check out the previous shows, or if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, also check out our podcast, which is the same name. It's called the Block Reward Podcast. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, and different guest every week, new episode every Tuesday. And we do introductory level Bitcoin conversations from Bitcoiners of all walks of expertise. So could be people talking about AI or mining or traditional financial topics, international politics. It's sort of the full gamut. And the Block Reward. And
we haven't fleshed it all out, but you might find me and Scott on stage with Jeff doing a fireside chat as well. Again, there's bigger bosses we have to answer to, so we'll see. Maybe Jeff himself.
Maybe.
All right. We thank you for watching Kelowna Now.